my phone buzzes. Now, normally, I ignore late-night texts. I'm too old to be dealing with drama after 9 p.m. But this text, it was from my sister, Hannah, and she's not a late-night texter. She's a lights out at 10 p.m. or the world ends type of mom. The message just said, "Are the girls with you?" And instantly, I'm awake. Because when your sister asks, "Are the girls with you at 11:30 at night?" that is not a question. That is a scream typed quietly. I text her back. What? No. Why? What happened? And then she calls me. And I swear, the sound of her voice, I'll never forget it. It wasn't just panic. It was that quiet, sobbing, shaky, I can't even breathe kind of fear. She says, they're gone. Both of them. They're not in their beds. I sit right up, like I got electrocuted. I'm like, what do you mean not in their beds? Where would they go? They're 9 and 11, Hannah. They're not exactly out clubbing. She says, the back door was unlocked, and that was the first moment where my heart just dropped. Because those girls, they don't open doors at night. They don't sneak out. They don't run off for an adventure. Nope. These two are the kind of kids who ask permission to breathe too loud. So the fact that both of them were gone, together, through the back door? No. No, no, no. Something was wrong. I tell her, okay, I'm coming. Stay calm, don't freak out. Which is hilarious, because I was freaking out more than she was. So I throw on the first hoodie I find, which by the way wasn't even mine, and I drive to her place like a maniac. I'm not proud of it, but honestly, if a cop had pulled me over, I probably would have just yelled, "Fine, take me to jail after we find the children." When I get there, Hannah is standing in the kitchen, holding her phone with both hands like it's keeping her alive. Her husband isn't home. He works late shifts, and honestly, part of me was relieved because that man is about as emotionally useful as a broken umbrella. I ask her, did they say anything weird today? Anything at all? And she hesitates, and that hesitation? That was the second moment I knew something was seriously, seriously off. She says, they had another nightmare. Now let me explain something real quick. For the past month or so, the girls kept waking up crying at night. Bad dreams, weird dreams, stuff about a woman they didn't want to talk about. But kids have nightmares, right? You don't automatically jump to, oh no, this could be a real threat. Except they kept drawing her. This faceless woman with long hair, standing in doorways, on stairs, near windows. And every time I asked who she was, the girls just said, just someone we don't want to see again. That was all. No details, no explanation. So now I'm standing in the hallway looking into their empty bedrooms, trying not to let my brain spiral. Their small backpacks are gone. Jackets gone. Shoes gone. And then I notice something that makes my stomach twist. A little trail, right near the back door. Tiny things on the floor. A hair clip, a broken bracelet, a wrapper from those stupid little strawberry candies they love, and one of their tiny notebooks, open and face down, like it fell, like they dropped things while leaving, or while being rushed. I pick up the notebook, flip it open, and on the page, drawn in pencil, kinda messy, kinda fast, was a picture of the two girls holding hands. Behind them, that same faceless woman. But this time, the girls had written something underneath. Just one sentence. She said she's coming back tonight. And when I tell you I felt the blood drain out of my entire body, oh my God, that was the third moment. The moment where I knew this wasn't just kids running away. This wasn't imagination. Something real happened. And whatever it was, the girls had been dealing with it alone. I close the notebook and tell Hannah, okay, we're finding them right now. But before I can even put on my shoes, Hannah says, I think I know where they went. And the way she said that, low, embarrassed, guilty, like she'd been hiding something from me for a long time. So when Hannah said, "I think I know where they went," I swear, it felt like the whole house went dead quiet. Like even the fridge stopped humming just to hear what she was going to say. I look at her and go, "Okay," then spit it out. "Where?" And she just stands there, twisting the bottom of her shirt like she's trying to rip it off her body. She won't even look at me. Her eyes keep flicking toward the back door, then the floor, then the notebook in my hand. Finally, she whispers, "Do you remember that old woman who used to babysit them years ago?" And I blink at her because, what? We're talking about that woman? The one who gave me the creeps even back then? I go, yeah, I remember her. The one who always smelled like bleach and stale cookies? The one who never smiled with her eyes? Hannah nods, biting her lip. Yeah, her. The girls called her Miss Rowe. And instantly, I feel my whole face twist. Miss Rowe. Ugh, even the name feels sour. I'm like, why the hell are we talking about Miss Rowe right now? Didn't you stop taking them to her after that whole weird... She cuts me off. I didn't stop. Not completely. And let me tell you something. I've known Hannah my whole life. I know her mom guilt voice. I know her I messed up voice. But this was a whole new level. I go, "What do you mean you didn't stop? You told me you stopped years ago. You said she moved away." And Hannah's eyes fill with tears instantly. "She came back a few months ago. And I didn't tell you because I knew you'd yell at me. I almost did yell. I could feel it bubbling up. But the brûles were missing. So I swallowed it, barely. I managed to keep my voice down and say, 'Why would you ever let that woman near the kids again? And please, picture this.'" Hannah looks at me with this exhausted, guilty, falling apart expression and goes, "She said she changed. She begged me to give her another chance. I needed someone to watch them during my evening shifts. I thought I was doing the right thing." I stare at her like she's speaking alien language. "Are you kidding me? You trusted her again? After everything?" Hannah nods, tears falling. I know, I messed up. But the girls didn't tell me anything was wrong. Not at first. At first. That phrase sits in my brain like a rock. I squeeze the notebook in my hand. "You think the girls went to her?" "No," she says quickly. "Not her house. She moved away again about 2 weeks ago." "Okay then, where?" And here's the part that hit me like a baseball bat. "She used to take them to that abandoned picnic area near the old forest trail. They mentioned it once last year, and they asked me not to make them go again." I actually take a step back. "You're telling me the girls asked you not to go there again? And you still sent them with her after that?" She covers her face with her hands. "I thought it was just... I didn't think..." I interrupt her. "Okay, we don't have time for the self-blame spiral. What matters is, do you think they went back there tonight?" Hannah nods slowly. "I think if they were scared of her coming back, they'd go to the last place she took them. Because they'd think we'd look everywhere but there." I grab my keys. I don't even wait for her. I just say, "Get your shoes. We're going." We step outside, and the air is cold in that heavy, weird way that makes your skin prickle. The street is dead quiet. No cars, no lights. Just that thick, late-night silence that feels like it's listening. The forest trail is about a 5-minute drive, but the whole time, it feels like an hour. The road is empty. Even the radio static sounds creepy. Hannah's grip on the steering wheel is white-knuckle tight. I keep thinking about the trail, that old picnic area. I hadn't been there since I was a kid myself. It's one of those places small towns forget about. No light, no maintenance, Barely any people ever go there. Exactly the type of place a creepy babysitter would take kids if she wanted them quiet. Halfway there, I suddenly say, "Hannah, did the girls ever actually tell you what happened there?" She shakes her head. No. Every time I tried to ask, they just changed the subject or said they didn't remember. Kids remember. Kids always remember, which means they didn't want to say it, or they were scared to say it. We finally pull up to the entrance of the trail, and I swear, even the trees look suspicious. Tall, dark, pressed together like they're hiding something. We get out of the car, flashlights on, and the first thing I see, tiny footprints in the dirt. 2 sets, going in, not coming out. I look at Hannah and whisper, "They're here." She nods, eyes wide. We start walking down the trail. Our flashlights bouncing everywhere. Every rustle in the bushes makes us jump. Every shadow looks like it's breathing. Halfway down the path, Hannah whispers, "Do you hear that?" I stop, hold my breath, and then I hear it. A sound, soft, shaky, coming from deeper in the forest. A voice, a child's voice, whispering one word. A word I'll never forget. Auntie? Only one of them calls me that, the younger one, and she sounds terrified. I look at Hannah. Run. And we start sprinting into the dark. The moment I heard that tiny, shaky auntie echo through the trees, my whole body just reacted. No thinking, no hesitating, just pure instinct. I grabbed Hannah's wrist and yelled, "Come on!" And we both started running down that narrow dirt path like our lives depended on it. And honestly, it felt like they did. The forest wasn't even that big, but at night, man, it felt endless. The trees were crowding over us like they were leaning in, trying to listen. The ground was uneven. Roots everywhere. Every breath felt sharp and loud. And the whole time, the only thing in my head was, please let that be her. Please let her be okay. We kept going, flashlights shaking like crazy in our hands, the beams cutting through the dark in these jittery little slices. Every few seconds, I yelled her name. Nothing. No answer. Then suddenly, Hannah stops dead. She gulps and points the light ahead. And there it is, the old picnic area, or what's left of it. The tables were basically rotting chunks of wood now. The benches were falling apart. Grass and vines had taken over everything. It looked abandoned in that nobody has set foot here in 20 years kind of way. Except for one thing. There were backpacks. 2 small backpacks right on top of one of the tables, side by side, like the girls placed them there real careful. My stomach dropped straight through the ground. "Oh, God," Hannah whispered. "That's theirs." We ran toward them, but right before I reached out to grab the backpacks, I froze, and Hannah bumped right into me. "What? Why'd you stop?" she whispered. "Listen," I said, because the second we stopped moving, we could hear it. Breathing. Not ours. Not little kid breathing. This was deeper, slow, like someone trying really hard to stay quiet. It was coming from somewhere behind the picnic tables. I turned my flashlight toward the sound and swear to God, I felt my whole chest freeze up, because right behind the dilapidated table, crouched low behind a tree, was a silhouette, big, still, watching us. I couldn't see their face, just the shape. Shoulders hunched, head tilted slightly, like they were studying us. I put my arm out in front of Hannah and whispered, "Don't move." But of course she moved. She gasped and yelled, "Lita?" Thinking maybe the shadow was one of the girls. It wasn't. The shape stood up slowly, too tall, too heavy, too adult, and before either of us could say a damn word, they stepped into the light. Not completely, just enough so we could see part of their face. And it was a man we didn't recognize. Scruffy beard, hollow, tired eyes, clothes dirty like he'd been living outdoors. He raised his hands like he was trying to show he wasn't a threat. Hey, it's okay, he said, voice raspy. I'm not here to hurt you. I took a tiny step back, adrenaline slamming through me. Where are the girls? I demanded. He swallowed, hard. And then he pointed to something behind him, something on the ground. We swung our flashlights that direction and saw a large piece of old plywood leaning against a tree, like someone had covered a hole in the ground. The man whispered, "They're under there." Hannah screamed, a raw, terrified sound. "What do you mean under there?" she yelled, practically lunging forward. The man flinched back. "I didn't put them there. I swear, I found them hiding, and they got scared of me and crawled in. They wouldn't come out. I tried talking to them, but—" I cut him off so sharp it almost sliced the air. "Move, now!" He stepped aside instantly. Hannah and I rushed to the plywood, grabbed the edges, and pulled with everything we had. It slid off with this awful scraping sound. Underneath, there was a little dugout space. Not deep, just big enough for maybe 2 kids to curl up inside. And inside we saw them, both girls, huddled together, eyes huge and red from crying, holding each other so tight their arms were shaking. The younger one saw me first. "Auntie, she came back," she sobbed. My heart almost stopped. "Who?" I whispered, though I already knew the answer. The older girl lifted her head and croaked out one word, "Miss Rowe." And before I could even react, before I could even reach for them, something snapped in the bushes behind us. A stick, a branch, something big, something moving. The man whipped around. Hannah grabbed my arm. The girls screamed, and from the darkness, a voice slid out. A woman's voice. Soft, sweet, familiar in the most horrifying way. "Oh, girls, you know you're not supposed to run from me." The second that voice drifted out from the bushes, soft, sugary, and absolutely chilling. Every hair on my body stood up. Hannah choked on her own breath. The girls scrambled out of the little dugout hole and clung to my legs so tight it almost hurt. And me? I was frozen, because I knew that voice. I'd heard it 100 times. At birthday parties, at school pickup, at family dinners. Laughing, chatting, offering to help with the kids, like she was some kind of saint. Miss Rowe, the nice neighbor, the one everyone trusted, the one the girls said they didn't feel comfortable with, and nobody believed them. Yeah, her. The bushes parted, and Miss Rowe stepped forward like she was walking onto a stage, hair perfectly braided, clothes spotless, like she hadn't been wandering around the woods in the dark. She smiled. God, that smile was wrong, stretched too wide, like someone performing friendly. "Oh, sweetheart," she said to the older niece, "you didn't tell Auntie about our little arrangement, did you?" Hannah nearly lunged at her. "What did you do to them?" she screamed. Miss Rowe didn't even look at her, just tilted her head like we were the rude ones. "I didn't do anything. I helped them. Their parents weren't listening. Nobody ever listens, but I do. I give kids what they need." Her voice was calm, too calm. The older niece grabbed my hand and whispered. She locked us in dark rooms. She said it was teaching us to be good. My stomach dropped so hard, I swear I nearly passed out. The younger niece was sobbing. She said if we told you, she'd take us away forever. Hannah broke. Completely broke. She sank to her knees, shaking, crying, whispering, oh God, I had no idea." The man, the stranger who'd been hiding, took a step forward, "Lady, just walk away," he said, voice trembling. "They're terrified of you. Leave them alone." Miss Rowe's face snapped toward him like a whip. "Don't interfere," she hissed. "This is a family matter." "It's not," I said, stepping between her and the kids. "You're done. It's over." For the first time, the sweet mask slipped. Her eyes went flat, cold, like a shutter had closed behind them. "You think they want you?" she spat. "They always come back to me. Kids love me. I make them better." "No," I said, shaking with anger so hard my teeth hurt. "You scare them. You hurt them. You're not taking another step toward them." It happened fast. 1 second she was standing there, hands clasped. The next, she lunged at us, nails out, face twisted, screaming, "They're mine!" I shoved the girls behind me. Hannah grabbed a broken tree branch and held it out like a bat. The man jumped forward to block her. She slipped in the dirt, face first into the ground. But she didn't stop. She scrambled back up, still clawing, still screaming. That's when Hannah, sweet, soft-spoken Hannah, snapped. "Stop touching my children!" She swung the branch, not hard, not to hurt, just enough to separate Miss Rowe from us, and it worked. Miss Rowe stumbled back, right as the sound of sirens started echoing through the trees. We all froze. She looked around, wild and panicked now. "You called them?" she screeched. "No," I said. "They called us, because in all the chaos, we forgot the most important thing." I still had my phone in my hand, and the emergency call button had been pressed when the police stormed in minutes later. 2 officers grabbed Miss Rowe as she fought, kicked, screamed, begged, lied, everything. The whole twisted performance. But it didn't matter. It was over. The girls were wrapped in blankets. Paramedics checked them. They were physically okay. Emotionally, that would take time. Hannah held them both like she'd never let go again. The man, our unexpected guardian angel, told the officers he'd been living in the woods after losing his job, and he'd seen the girls earlier that day. He tried helping, but they were terrified of him because, well, he looked rough. He was harmless, just alone. We ended up buying him a hotel room for a week. Hannah cried when she hugged him. When we finally got back to the house, the note the girls left was still sitting on the counter, crinkled, tear-stained, written in shaky handwriting. "Auntie, we're sorry. We didn't know where else to go. We just needed to feel safe." I swear my heart broke into dust reading that. The truth came out publicly. Miss Rowe had been watching kids for years, building this perfect lady reputation while privately scaring them into silence. Parents confessed that their own children had said things that they brushed off. They didn't believe them, just like we hadn't believed the girls. Hannah's guilt nearly destroyed her, but therapy helped, time helped, being honest helped, and me? I became the person the girls came to for everything. Nightmares, school problems, fears, questions. I promised them that no adult ever again would get between us. When I was tucking her in, she whispered, "Auntie, if we ever get scared again, you'll hear us, right?" I hugged her and said, "I heard you tonight, didn't I? I'll always hear you, even in the dark." She smiled, and for the first time that entire night, so did I.